Yes, everybody, welcome back to the XG Files. No Ben again this week, just me and Ronaldo, who turncoated me this weekend. Didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Anyway, all right?
I'm all right.
Ronaldo has left Stretford Paddock FC and has signed for Ramsbottom United in the Northern Premier League. So, congratulations.
Thank you. I always kind of a bit tentative when people are like, congratulations, because you got congratulated on the move, but then there's a footload of work to do after it.
Yeah, and you were shit on Saturday, can we just have it right?
Yeah. Like, oh my days. Last Paddock game.
Yeah, we had a conversation. Let's leave it on a high, eh?
Yeah.
No, didn't do that. Anyway, off to Rami with Jay and Nosa and Parker.
Yes.
So good luck. I think there's a couple of people going to try and get down to a Rami game.
Work starts now.
Oh, right, okay.
And see what. Now the work, no disrespect, the work has always started, but when you've got change, you got to pick it up. Obviously, there's a level difference. You know that. Let's not be naive here. But I need to kick on, don't I? And not just be like, hooray, I've got to move to Ramsbottom, and that's it.
You could have played in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I could have.
But they got knocked out at the weekend, didn't they?
They got knocked out by a team apparently a league below, but you know what the FA Cup's like, it's full of shocks like that. And obviously I think Rami's a pretty new collection of players at the moment, and good players though when I've gone down
there. It's a new manager in that as well, isn't it? Which is, it's Parker's mate, who I think Parker played with at Glossop.
Yeah.
Who's asked Parker to come as his assistant. Obviously, Parker was club captain for Paddock last season. He's gone as his assistant, and he's took UJ and Nosa along with him.
Nah, it's good. Good players, Very experienced, mixture of youth, fast tempos, quick. Enjoyed it.
All right, so that's one Ronaldo move this week, and how's this for a segue? And the other one, the fellow that's currently playing in Italy, has been linked with a move to Manchester City.
You completely discredit a segue when you mention that it's a perfect segue.
It's not that one, it was perfect.
How about, if you're going to do a segue, you got to do it seamlessly. You're not going to announce that it is a segue, then do it.
All right, I apologise. Yeah. But Ronaldo has been linked with a move to Manchester City. One, do you think this
Leaving
is...
Rami already.
Real? Two, do you think... one, do you think it's real first, and then give me your thoughts on it second?
Usually, especially when it comes to players like Ronaldo, players that ilk, with that pedigree, where there's smoke, there's usually fire in it. Wouldn't surprise me. After he's seen what's happened with Lionel Messi going to PSG, knowing what Ronaldo's like, I reckon that's bothered him. I think it's unsettled him a little bit. He's probably thinking...
He already started moving out of Italy in the summer. And I think he said, I've completed everything I need to do here this year. And he hasn't gone back on anything in saying that.
So what was his goal then when he went Juve? He was like, I'm going to win the Champions League here, was he? I'm going to win Serie A.
I have no idea, I don't remember what he was saying.
I don't know, you got the emergence of Chiesa as well. Because I remember the last stages of the season, last season, before he even went to the Euros, in Italy, it was common knowledge or a common conception, even especially by Juventus fans, that Chiesa was outperforming Ronaldo. And obviously he saw the player he is in the Euros. And I think there's a bit of an element of that, you know what Ronaldo's like, and he's when he's not the out-and-out star man. Apparently he did ask to be benched against Udinese as well on the weekend.
Interesting.
Which was an interesting one. He came on and basically, it's almost comic book fashion with Ronaldo. He comes on and then he basically heads in a 95-minute winner.
Yeah, he was ruled out.
He got ruled out, but it's such a Ronaldo thing to do, innit? He's like a goal threat all the time.
He is a pure right of the road. If you're looking for a story, then he can usually deliver you a really good story.
Yeah.
Even the way Portugal won the Euros and he was like managing it off the sideline. I think you have to believe it because City, I still think, even though they are on the surface of things, aside from where it looks like they're trying to cook the books and things like that, outside of that, they look like they're quite a well-run club, or at least they are extremely ambitious, and they seemingly make a lot of good decisions, even if they're a bit spendy sometimes. But the investment into the training ground, the investment into the squad, the investment into infrastructure has all been to produce elite footballers and to train and retain elite footballers with a goal to doing the sort of domination that United saw for the previous 20 years. I still think, though, there's that very much small-time mentality within Manchester City in areas. And I think that the opportunity to get someone like Ronaldo, to get one over United, I still think they're very much defined by United. And I think the opportunity to get someone like Ronaldo would be massive for them. I think they would absolutely jump at the opportunity to bring Ronaldo in, to stick two fingers up at United.
And I also believe a majority of United fans are more upset with the fact that if Ronaldo goes to City, it gives City kind of bulletin material in terms of banter and a one-over kind of aspect. Your legend come here.
Him, the player, isn't the guy that left here.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know whether United fans are upset in terms of Ronaldo actually making a decision to go to City. I think nowadays fans are just more bothered about the kind of leverage it gives City fans to say, your legend has come to United. I think it's more that kind of
25 million supposed to be the price.
That kind of pride element. It's insane, but it wouldn't. You know what? It wouldn't actually surprise me. What actually would surprise me anymore in this modern day football? I know people are having got Ronaldo saying you wouldn't do that, and he's loyal to. He's a Red through and through, and he's loyal to Fergie. For one, Fergie's not the manager anymore. There could have been an aspect where Ronaldo's probably a little bit more loyal to Fergie than he is to the club.
Could be.
And he probably sees himself as far removed from that. And anyway, I did tweet about this yesterday. I've said it to you many times though. Like, in football, there's no such thing as loyalty. Like, there isn't. People believe that, especially modern day.
He says after he just left us. Anyway,
it's not comparable.
It's not. And I agree. And I think that you're probably right. He might have more loyalty to Fergie than Manchester United. Who's here from when he was here? Solskjaer, probably.
Solskjaer. Carrick.
Yeah. That's it. There's no players that was here. So... Which is a mad career that the guy's had.
It's a mad career. He needs to get Rio to have a word.
I'm sure he'll be having a word no matter what. I mean, Varane coming, if they got on, could be a bonus. But I just got to think that it'd be good if United would show the ambition. Because I actually think that...
So basically what you're saying is you'd like to see Ronaldo return to Old Trafford?
Always. I don't care how old he is. I don't care what stage we are in anything.
Ronaldo win Martial out. Is that you're going to say that?
Oh God, yeah, I'm in for that. I've just shown you his movement for that goal that United put on Instagram.
Yeah, but you said you shown that as if it's some sort of like crazy.
It's not new.
You would have seen that and kind of been not surprising.
Do you know what?
That's
I'm
surprising.
showing
It's
you
Martial.
because my inbox has been full up with Martial FC proclaiming this guy the fucking second coming of R9. Honestly, lads. Get your fucking heads out your ass.
And you know,
not that good.
I was definitely.
It's his 7th season.
Yeah, listen.
7th.
Do you know what the craziest part about it is I very much was still partially a Martial FC member as well. I've always rated him very highly and thought he's a serious player. He looks a shell of himself to me. It's actually quite upsetting. When I do, he looks like he looks a little bit slower. Yeah. Like he's lost a bit of pace. He looks like he's put on a bit of timber.
That movement in the box for the Greenwood goal. If you go on United socials, go look at it. Go find it. 'Cause I don't think we can put it in a video without copyright. So go find it, put it in a video, go and have a look at it, and just look at Martial. Notice the fact that Bruno's not even in shot and comes running across him. The movement from everybody else is decent movement. It's not perfect. There's still movement issues in the team, but Tony's movement. For a centre forward, like, it was so obvious when Cavani come in, we'd been trying to play Martial as a 9. And you go, oh. And some people are upset that I compared him with Lukaku and they're going, oh, well, he's played on the wing. Well, he's still played. He's played about 65% of his games as a centre forward, and about 35-40% of his games as a winger.
I would tend to agree with people. I don't know if Lukaku and Martial's career arc's the best comparison.
It's not, no, but when we had both at the club, and I understand that it wasn't a choice between keep one and sell the other, but we had both at the club. Yeah. We seemingly couldn't. I think Lukaku wanted to go, and I think perhaps it was the best thing for him to go because he shedded it looks like about 3 stone, doesn't it? He got his game back, he evolved, and I think he's come back an even better player than the one we signed. The issue is the ages aren't too dissimilar. The games aren't really that far different in terms of games played, but the amount of goals and the ability and the situation of where those two players are right now is just, it's night and day. But anyway, yeah, would I swap Martial for Ronaldo today? Yes, but there's a romanticism to football which you can't eliminate. And I said this in there just then chatting. Football is romantic and it is illogical. Otherwise, why do think about this, right? If I tried to convince you of this, 78,000 of us are going to go and watch 11 blokes run around a pitch for an hour and a half. Why? It doesn't make sense. And we will have our weekends affected by, did them 11 guys manage to beat them 11 guys?
Why does that not make sense?
But it doesn't make sense.
It's 22 players on a pitch.
Yeah. Do I know those 11 guys? No. And I don't know the other 11 guys either. But I don't necessarily hate them other 11 guys.
Isn't that part of it though? The fact that you don't know them. So it's like, you don't know them, but they represent something that you support and they entertain you.
It's the representation, and that's the connection. But if you try to logic it out, why are all of us spending a significant portion of time and money to follow them guys?
Is it the fandom element though?
So but fandom again is illogical.
It's that kind of tribalism kind of.
Well, yeah, and tribalism ultimately is the same. But when you try and just break it down to its building blocks of what it actually is, it's illogical. Now, a lot of everything that we do as humans, because we are emotionally driven beings, everything that we do as humans, or a lot of what we do as humans, is illogical.
I was about to say then, I was thinking, I'm trying to think of a world where everything was logical, and it's kind of, it would be...
Everything good in life comes from things that are emotional. What we do with food is emotional. Yeah. What we do with drinking is emotional. Yeah. It's because it changes how you feel and perceive everything.
It's balance.
Yeah, otherwise you would eat whatever macros you were meant to eat. You'd get your carbs, your protein and your fats, and you would be like, that's all I need today. That on a logical sense. But you're not going to have that emotional connection because you enjoy it, or I enjoy going eating with this person and spending time with this person, or I like the flavour of these drinks. Logically, every drink I'm having taking time off my life. I'm spending. Went to a place over there. It was £11 for a rum and coke. Like, I am not fucking logically thinking this is a good idea. I can get a whole bottle for 30 quid. So do you know what I mean? If you take logic over everything that humans do, there's not a lot that we ever would do. I don't know what the fuck would look like, the world would look like if it was a non-emotional thing. The emotional, the tribalism, the fandom, that response is what makes life as fucking, it gives life the flavour, doesn't it? Otherwise everything's completely black and white and fucking beige and boring.
Exactly. And now if you look back at what we were just discussing in terms of the loyalty aspect, it's like a generational thing, and I think this era of football, there isn't really that loyalty element. It's become more of a business. Players are more looking out for themselves.
I think it still exists.
It's not as much as the past. I think when you look back in the past, you're looking at it and you're thinking, would Martin Keown play for United? Would Van Nistelrooy play for Arsenal? Well, that kind of... Probably not. And then I think you've started it and you've seen from like how the response was when Samir Nasri went from Arsenal to City, and then you've got Van Persie when he came from Arsenal to United, and then you have the Carlos Tevez when he went from United to City, and then you've got all these kind of transfers between the clubs that are not very common. I think a lot of that is more common in like abroad, like foreign. Because I remember seeing something the other day, there was a transfer between two clubs that are rivals, and it was the first transfer between the two clubs in apparently 70 years, or something like that.
Well, is that because, like, I don't know, a player from Argentina doesn't have loyalty to 5 different clubs in England? So, like, when Gabriel Hines wanted to move from United to Liverpool, it's not a big deal for him because he grew up supporting River Plate, say. I don't know who he supported, but let's say it's River Plate. Now, to him, if he was like, cool, would you ever play for Boca? He'd be like, absolutely fucking not. Are you insane? So I think those loyalties exist no matter, like, if you bring an Italian player in and he was an AC Milan fan growing up and then you try and sell him to Inter Milan, he's going to spit in your face. But I think that's because that's what's their loyalty growing up.
I wonder if it was that. Does anyone know if the last time there's been a AC Milan, Inter Milan transfer between the two clubs?
I know Pirlo played for both. I know R9 played for both. I don't know how many have gone direct. Didn't Zlatan play for both?
Yes, I believe so.
So, like, I think there's quite a few that have played for both. I don't know how many. I mean, there's probably a few, but I think that those, again, is that just... Who did we just mention there? We mentioned R9, Zlatan, and Pirlo. Yeah, Pirlo's local. But I don't even know who Pirlo supports. Because Pirlo's played at tons of clubs.
Juventus as well. It's a bit of an interesting one because if you look at it, it shouldn't matter as much as it should. Like you said, if I'm looking at it logically, as we were speaking about, it shouldn't matter about, as a player, whether you've got a rivalry or loyalty to a club. It's about you furthering your career, taking your opportunity. And I believe there's that element to it. I think the loyalty aspect comes from something that fans require. But
do you know when loyalty's easy? When you're in the top 1% of players in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you growing up, you've gone to Liverpool. Did you have the opportunity to go to United?
Yeah, I did Cliff times, but it wasn't good enough to make it to the academy at that time.
Right, so you didn't have the same level of commitment from United as you did as Liverpool?
No, I didn't.
Right, so your
Liverpool gave me an opportunity that United didn't.
So your choices are stay loyal as a United fan and don't play football.
Which would make no sense, was it?
or go to Liverpool and try and carve out a career. And then I'm sure at the first opportunity, because my sister did the same thing. My sister was at City. She did 3 years at City because the United girls didn't exist. And then when they said, oh, we're doing a girls team, they invited her down to a trial, she was there the same day. You know, and then she spent 3 years at United.
When I was there, I was always holding out for a possibility of making a switch.
But that's the thing, isn't it? So at a certain level, you're as loyal to your career first and then the club secondary. Whereas if you're Wayne Rooney, you can be, and ultimately I guess he wasn't, but he never went to Liverpool, did he? Like, ultimately you can be loyal to your career, but also to your club. Like, he stayed loyal, I guess, to United. Obviously there was the flirtation with City at one point. But I think you can see kind of the way he is with his son being at United. He's got a strong affection for United. I think he's always been an Everton fan. I think that was so clear when he went back. He was like wearing Everton pyjamas and shit when he went back. Yeah. He was obviously an Everton fan. But I think he really took United to heart while he was here. And I think you can see that through his son. Now, his son's probably grown up watching him at United. So he probably associates United very strongly with his dad. He probably supports United more than Rooney ever did.
Yes.
So, like, Kai coming through, I think he's like 10 or 11 now or something, coming through United system, and by all accounts, he's fucking smashing it. Left footer as well. I think he's potentially someone that could come through and stay at United, potentially. Again, depending on his options. Because if United are offering him,
Kai?
I think I'm hearing that he's pretty fucking...
Because it don't always work out that way, innit, with footballers' son.
No, I believe Ryan Giggs' son was playing in the under-16s the other day. The spit out of his mouth glides across the pitch like him. His face looks like a 17-year-old Ryan Giggs. Yeah. I don't think he's going to make it at United, though. Might make it as a footballer.
Yeah.
But I think the bar at United is so
I think I remember playing against Solskjaer's son. He was a keeper. Weren't very good at all.
I think Zlatan's kids was good, and I think that is it Shaquille Van Persie? He's meant to be very good as well. Yeah. But I think there's a couple in there.
Because there's a lot of what you're about to mention. A lot of players that you're mentioning, the legends that they have enough influence where they can kind of shoehorn their youngsters into academies because of who they are.
They also, as well, have got probably some level of natural ability which at 6 and 7 is enough to just get you through the door in an academy.
I don't know if football ability is genetic though. Realistically,
well, athletic ability is.
Athletic
and
ability
that could
is
be enough.
Yeah.
Like I've seen players at a young age get signed on pure athletic ability.
I think that's what I was signed on. Yeah.
There was a kid who's just been released from United now. He's a family friend. He's at Burnley at the moment. He's a centre forward, and at a time United was all over him. Obviously until they released him, scoring fucking 8 and 9 in games and stuff like that. He'd grown huge, and they signed his brother on the basis, and they signed him on the fact of how fast he was. And I think his dad, or I think it's his granddad actually, that looks after him, had said like, I'm watching him here training with the other lads here at United, and to me, he doesn't seem like he's the same level of skill. He went, but he's quick. And he said that's literally what United had said. We can teach him the skills. We can't teach quick. And you're like... It's
like deja vu. You have a lot of that, and you think it's false, but like literally those academies, they can literally, if they've got you and you're 9, 10 years old and you're quick and you're strong, and you can at least functionally play football. Control a ball. Literally, the training it's literally trainings every day that you get from 10. Obviously, that's a big developmental period of your football career anyway. You can become a serious player. Like literally, I put down 90% of my ability now to my period at Liverpool, if I'm honest. Just left foot stuff, just little intricate technical stuff as well, just even mental stuff. I'm just thinking Liverpool's a major reason why I'm the player that I am today. And if I didn't go to that academy, I think I'd be probably half the player, if I'm honest. I think that's the type of influence those type of places can actually have on you in terms of developing your skills. And obviously you're gonna say they've got the budget and the time to make it that way, but coaching top notch, facilities top notch, pitches, boots. It's only right that you make the most of it and you improve yourself as a player anyway, but they definitely help. But back to like the loyalty thing, as what we was talking about, I don't know. I think if I see Ronaldo win a City shirt, I will hate it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No, and that's the worry, is that I don't think I would be surprised myself, but I'd be devoed.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking player we've loved. He's one of 4 people to have won a Ballon d'Or at United. He probably put down the best individual performance I've ever seen in a United shirt in a season, that 2008 season. Yeah. He walked onto the pitch and it was probably 1-0, just by having him in the team. Like, he was so fucking good.
Was that the season he scored 45?
42.
42, yeah.
What's hilarious is about 5 or 6 games into the season, a shame he's not here for this today, about 5 or 6 games into the season, at Old Trafford, me and Ben, and Ronaldo had scored, I can't remember at what point it was in the season, and Ben went, we was talking about how many he was going to score, and Ben went, he's going to score 42 goals this season. And I think he had a bet on it.
Yeah.
And he scored his 42nd goal in the last game of the season, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bananas. Like, spooky. Like, how the fuck have you just called that, like, months and months out? Not like he'd called it with 6 weeks to go and gone, he's on 37 and he's going to finish on 42. Oh, is he? Nice one. Like, he called it before Christmas, and it was to score his 42nd, and I was with him obviously when he scored the 42nd, and I was like, as if you fucking called that.
I wouldn't know what the winnings are.
No, it was decent, I think.
Nah, it would be, but probably the run of form that he had, the odds would have been a little bit not as good as he should have been.
Fucking 42 goals.
But
there's only him and Rude that have put in those seasons where you just go, oh my God.
Goal scoring wise.
Yeah, I mean...
Because I see a lot of arguments that a lot of Liverpool players, not Liverpool players, Liverpool fans have been saying that Mo Salah's had a better Premier League career than Ronaldo did, etc. Especially statistically. The
stats are spreading out. Like, you can't... there's a thing where, do you know, like, Matt Busby only won, like, I think it was 5 league titles. It's pretty ordinary for someone at a club 25 years. Now, you can obviously bring Munich into account. You're not going to be expected to win the league the same season you lose. I mean, you lose 8 players when your squad's probably only 14. It's devastating. And then the ones that survived Bobby Charlton's not seen for months and months and months because he's quite rightly head's fucking mashed up with
And
it.
survivor's guilt. Yeah.
Oh, it was fucked up in a big way. So of course you're not going to expect him to win the league that year, and it's unrealistic to expect him to win the league the next year. And my granddad's got like some great thoughts, and obviously he was a United fan. I was watching the first and second team at the same time, and he said we had such a good academy, like we won 5 youth cups on the bounce. He goes, and I think we'd have continued winning them, but what happened is it took me a while to understand what he was saying. But it was like all of the young players that were in the academy, they got dragged up too quick. He goes, they hadn't come to the boil yet. They were undercooked. And we threw them in. They didn't last, and we binned them. And we went through this rotation of like bringing people in that weren't ready, they're not fucking right, and then moving them on. And then we had to bring in some players, and it took a while. George Best eventually came through. They bought Dennis Law. They bought, who else was a big signing? Paddy Crerand. They bring in some of these players and they eventually get back to the top of the mountain. But they didn't really dominate. One like they did in the 50s or like Fergie dominated in the 90s. And one of the major reasons for that was because there was a salary cap. So when there's a salary cap, and actually it wasn't even a salary cap, it was a maximum wage for players. So it was like £100 or £50 or something like that. So why are you going to move from United to, say, Blackpool, who were a big team at the time, for the same money? You're not. You're just going to stay where you are. There wasn't a lot of transfers in the day anyway, so loyalty was easier when the options were less. You're not going to, like, United can't say to you, I'll double your money. You go, I'm in. You go, I'm just going to stay here. My wife's happy, my kids are in school, especially then, because you're only playing for a normal wage. Like, you're just going to stay where you are. You're not going to be asked about the hassle of moving, and also no one was guaranteeing you trophies like they could nowadays. Because it's got a salary cap and a wage cap or a wage restriction. It's much more of a competitive league. So it's the team that's at the bottom of the league and the team that's at the top of the league, they're able to pay the same amount of money. And the biggest correlation between league position in the modern game is how much you're paying in salary. That's what you pay in transfer fee doesn't actually relate to where you finish as a football club. Salary is the one. Like when people there was a big thing like we did with Rio last week where we was just talking about United. United spent money in the 90s. Yes, they did. But they didn't actually, there was the 7th most spendy club in the 90s. I think it was Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, Newcastle, Manchester City, and I think Everton, or it might have been Leeds.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Rio did have some good counterpoints to you though on that. Because on the spendiest element, he was right when he was mentioning quality. For example, the spendiest doesn't take into account who had the biggest transfer fees.
No, it doesn't.
As he mentioned, those clubs could have been doing
loads of
lesser business, and it adds up further. Whereas United go out and sign one person for 90 mil. Obviously, I'm just not back then, obviously, but
just 4 mil.
Just in comparison, like inflation included. Whereas Arsenal could have signed 5 players for like 15 million each. That would only be 75 mil, but
within I think 2 years or a year even, United break the transfer record for Andy Cole for 7 million. Of that is Keith Gillespie valued at 1 million, so it's technically 6 million plus Keith Gillespie. So they called it 7 million for Andy Cole. I think either that summer or the summer after, Liverpool spent 8.5 on Stan Collymore. And then almost immediately, Newcastle spent 15 on Alan Shearer. Like, that was within a couple of years or a year. That was the progression of and like, so people will talk about, oh yeah, United broke the transfer record there for Roy Keane, and then we broke it for Andy Cole. All right, yeah, cool. But then like, within a couple of years of that, Arsenal spent like 22 on Nicolas Anelka or whatever it is. Like, there's been a crazy sort of thing into it that United keep getting this thing that's thrown at them. We made a profit up until the summer of '98, where we did spend big and we bought Yapstam, Dwight York and Jesper Blomqvist, and it resulted in the treble. But up until '98, where we'd won the league in '93, '94, '95, come second in '95, and we won it in '96 and '97. 2 doubles in that time, a lot of homegrown players, and we spent the 7th highest amount of money. and we were the team that dominated that period of time.
And isn't that directly a result of 92 onwards being not having to spend as much, and obviously it being those kind of stats being diluted by the fact that United 92 onwards had the class of 92.
Okay.
So you had the
But the class of 92 didn't really start, but gigs aside, didn't really break into the team until that 95, 96 season. Because that was when Alan Hansen came out and went, you'll not win anything with kids. Now, at the time, Cantona was out, and he was out until October. Once Cantona came back into the team, I think it was a rough for a little bit around Christmas, but then he started hitting his form and helped United go on and win the double. But you can't use the class of 92 as an excuse. We weren't the only team allowed to play youth players. You all could have played fucking youth players.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just using it in the context of we're talking about
it is a factor.
Money spent.
But so did we not spend money in our academy?
No, money spent is in obviously the transfer first team. Whereas I'm not saying it's an excuse. It's not a negative. It's basically a representation of United at that time having a better academy production than everyone. That's something to be proud of. But we're not talking about that. The context we're talking about is transfer fees and money spent. And because United's academy was good at the time, and you produced these players from the academy, United didn't have the need, in the period you're mentioning, to probably spend as much as other teams did.
It's like now, if you tried to buy Greenwood and Rashford, you might not get much change out of 200 mil. That's money saved. It's on everyone else that United had a good academy and they didn't. But the ultimate factor is, like, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, when there was so much parity between the teams, you didn't get teams dominating the way you do now. Loyalty, again, was probably easier.
Because the way I'm looking at it is you're making a point of United dominated in a period where they weren't as spendy as people have said. Where the flip side of it, you look at United in the last 10 decades, not 10 decades, the last decade, it's United have been spending up there and they're not having a level of success. So it's kind of the flip side, isn't it? So we could talk about
like being a well-run club and not being a well-run club. And I can't remember what the original point we were talking about is. Probably Mo Salah's fucking stats compared to Ronaldo. The game has changed decade on decade on decade. And looking at, even if you look at Alan Shearer was unfucking real, but he was playing in a more competitive league. Like,
more championship-like in that sense.
Yeah. It was very much championship-like. Like, literally, the teams at the bottom used to get this many points. Now they get this many points. And the teams at the top used to get this many points. Now they get this many points.
The disparity is wide, isn't it?
That's literally it. So, at the start of the Premier League era, everyone got the same amount of TV money. United were doing well because us and Spurs have always kind of done well with this, were quite commercially savvy. Like, it was only in the decade previous that they started to get shirt sponsors. And it was only a few years prior to that clubs weren't buying kits. And they went, hang on, Adidas, we're wearing your kits on, in front of how many thousand people. You can use all these images saying that, Manchester United wear these kits. How about you fucking pay us for it? Because up until then, all that was happening is they would go and try and negotiate a discount at like Adidas or Admiral or something. I think Admiral was the first deal that we actually signed to manufacture our kits. Until then, it was like the groundsmen were in charge of like just organising the kit. And if they made any money on it or anything like that, and whatever the few they sold in the club shop, they'd put it in a players' pool. Like, there was no commercial savvy about clubs, and that all changed with, there was a couple of rule changes. One, I think, is it Doug Ellis at Everton? Not Everton, Aston Villa. He was one of the first directors to take a salary because it was forbidden. And once Irving Scholar, I think it was, floated Tottenham Hotspur and Tottenham were allowed to become a public limited company, United quickly followed suit. And then people made like shell companies that owned the football clubs and they was able to get paid as directors through those. The Premier League changed more than just the fact that TV could show live games. Because they used to show live games in the 80s, but they could only show the second half.
Why?
Because they thought that if they showed any live games, no one would go and watch any of their local matches. They would just watch Arsenal Tottenham on TV.
I remember doing something on this. People did mention whether the increase in games being televised and would actually affect fans going to stadiums. It actually hasn't. But
I don't think it has in a top flight, but I'd be very interested to see what it's done to like Championship, League One, League Two, and then non-league structure.
Because people are thinking, I don't need to go to the stadium, I can watch at home, I come from my own living room.
Some people actually don't understand fandom. Because, let's say it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. United are playing, pick a team, West Ham, right? Yeah. United are playing West Ham at 3 o'clock. But City and Fulham are on at 3 o'clock on telly. Why do I care? I'm a United fan. I'm going to watch United. This is who I watch. Do I have to miss that game that's on telly? Sound. That's not affecting my decision making in the slightest. That's people who was worried about that and thinking about that were incorrectly thinking that a live game being on is going to affect people going to the game. It's like there's still a 3 p.m. blackout because they reckon if they put games on at 3 p.m. then no one would go to games still.
That makes sense because I've always wondered why majority of the Premier League games on a weekend are at Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Or Sunday at whenever.
No, majority of the games are Saturday, 3 o'clock week in, week out. Games, and those are the games that are never, ever televised on Sky, on BT, on anywhere.
They're not televised in England, but they're televised around the world.
Yes.
You can always watch them in America.
Yeah, no, you can watch them on like streams of elsewhere. Not that I'm promoting that. Maybe I am.
So I was arguing with Michael Cox, the zonal marking guy, and he was completely fucking wrong on this. Because he was saying that when United played West Ham away, there's only 2,200 United fans are going to watch that game. I'm like, you're off your head. And he didn't buy my argument because
2,200 people, including people watching it on TV?
No, because it's like a 3 o'clock kickoff, United play West Ham away, 2,200 people. They're the only United fans in England that are going to watch that game.
In terms of go to the stadium and watch it, in general?
They're the only people who are going to watch that game.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Yeah. And he was saying, because I have a Twitter account like he does, he was saying, you're an internet person, of course you understand streaming. Like my dad understands streaming. My next door neighbour was the one who told me about like fucking, what they call the Amazon Fire Stick.
My mum is the least techie person ever. And if she needs to watch a United game that's not on TV, she can somehow find a way to get a stream. And my mum is not very technological.
So this guy was arguing in favour of the 3 p.m. blackout still being in charge. And I said, well, the numbers aren't there. So you're saying if only 2,200 people go watch United and West Ham away, why aren't Altrincham getting 10,000 them Saturdays? Because that's what you're suggesting it's going to be. Because he was like, people will go and watch non-league if they can't watch a game on the telly. I was like, okay, so you show me where the data is. Because what I see is Altrincham's attendance is like that. And then they'll play a bigger team and their attendance goes up. Probably because the bigger team brings more fans with them. But there is no evidence that I can see whatsoever. Like, if you're an Altrincham fan, you're watching Altrincham. Now, yes, there might be the occasional game that you want to watch on telly. But if you're going watching Altrincham, you're watching Altrincham. I've never bought that in the slightest that 3 p.m. blackout is a good thing. I don't think it is. I think you should be able to watch whichever fucking game that you want. What the Premier League has done.
Is it very rarely that I think big teams are on that Saturday 3 o'clock section a little bit less than other teams though. I think they put a majority of the bigger teams
want to put them on telly. But here's the thing, right? If United are kicking off at 1:30 or 12:30, you can't get to Old Trafford in time still to go watch United at 3 or to go watch Altrincham at 3. Yeah, you can't. So it's
so you're basically speaking as if it's inclusive where Altrincham fans are also United fans, is what you're trying to say.
That's what I think people think. I think Altrincham fans are Altrincham fans.
I think that.
Yeah. I think if there's an opportunity, because I do it, my father-in-law does it, there's quite a few of my friends will do it. I mean, someone messaged us this morning saying, should we go watch Rami because you guys are all there this weekend on Saturday and United don't play till Sunday. Now, that's something I do. But that's not going to be dictated to by anything else other than the fact that I want to go watch that fucking game. Now, if they put, I don't know, fucking Everton and Aston Villa on at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm not going to be like, cancel all my fucking plans. I'm going to stay here and watch fucking Everton and Aston Villa. No, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And going to live football for me always trumps watching something on the telly, regardless of the level. I'll watch Bridge. I'd have watched Droylsden if they were still fucking around. I've been to Altrincham. I've been to New Mills. I will go, or FC United, I will go and watch any of these fucking games, or I'll watch an under-21s game or an 18s game. Because there's just something I enjoy about the visceral thing of being at a football match. And I just disagree with that thing entirely. Now, what happened with the Premier League is, when they did start televising it, attendances in the Premier League were going through the roof. Stadiums are getting bigger and bigger and bigger to accommodate more people. Prices are going through the roof. But one of the reasons why more and more people are flocking to watch the Premier League is the product is better. Premier League's a great fucking product in terms of like, so it is even though it's less competitive than it ever has been, it is a competitive league. It's an exciting league where I think there's a fucking book that
do you think how it's becoming least competitive is making it slightly hypocritical in terms of people using that whole looking at Spain, looking at Italy, looking at France and saying it's the Farmers League element because of the lack of competitiveness in that league and the disparity between PSG and the bottom of the league. But it's widening that way in England also. So you've got like Norwich going to Man City.
Yeah. If Nottingham Forest get promoted, they're not going to go then and do what they did in 1970s when they could go and compete at the top of the league. They'll just be fucking delighted to stay in the division. Because the teams that have stayed in the Premier League are so far ahead of the teams that are going up and down in the Championship.
Look at this. If you look at the City-Norwich game, and even when they played Liverpool, the difference was crazy between Norwich and City. Just walk in the park, it's like a non-contest. Norwich absolutely pissed the Championship last year. Yeah. So what does that say?
It's becoming, and I think it's a bad thing for football if it becomes like this. Because I do watch League One because they have it on BT and I have it in my office. So I just put it on.
That's funny that you actually watch, because I don't watch a game from League One. So I'm vouching for it. I don't watch.
It's background noise really more than anything else. But I know I'll sit and watch it and see who's fucking playing on Marseille.
You want to see Marseille fight and fans.
So I'll watch them in my office. But I think the difference is, generally, and Norwich and City is not a good example because City, when they steamroll teams, they fucking do it they do it different. But there's a thing in England where no one ever really truly throws a towel in. People are still dangerous in the 90th minute, whereas in France and in Spain, and I don't think it's the same in Italy either. I think Italy, they don't really give up because the games are very tight still over there. And I think that there's a throwing in of the towel, and I can't remember I want to say it was a German player who said, like, teams don't quit in England, and that's why the Premier League's as intense and as hard as it is, because they will always, because the crowd demands it. Like they want to see you push to the end. I can't remember who it is. It was a player that's come out and quoted as saying, like, this is the difference between playing in this country, and this country, and in England, no one knows when they're fucking beat, and that's why you see so much late drama and this, that, and the other, because teams keep going. And maybe that's why English teams have been successful with a lot of late winners in Europe, is because when they should have been done, we've not necessarily acted like we're done. But it's a fucking mad one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Definitely. Obviously, I know you wanted to speak about this, even if you've got the time to.
What time is it?
And that is Mbappe's.
Let's finish on him then. So, have you seen the reply from one of the Qatari owners?
Nope. What is it?
Will, can you find that reply for us from the Qatari owner? Because it's quite funny. It's somewhat along the lines of, pay the money you've been quoted, or sling it, and play the golfer up front. So it's...
That's what he's wanted, though, Mbappe, to go Real Madrid. I thought
they were skint. I would love to be as skint as Real Madrid.
That's what I mean. I thought they were skint. Everyone said they were broke, and then all I'm seeing is 130 million.
160, or was it 160 million euros? Might be
euros.
Oh my goodness. This transfer window is wild.
But I'm thinking, honestly, Mbappe's worth more than that, probably, with what he's done at his age and his potential.
Is it a year left of his contract?
That's probably about right then, price wise. Because you know
100 million.
Now I've showed you 100 million.
Right, think about this, right? If you're not PSG or City, who those transfer fees don't matter to.
Yeah.
If you're a regular business, like if you're Spurs, and you've got a player leaving next year for free, right? If he just decides, I'll just fold my arms for 9 months. He's going for free next year, or £100 million.
I want to get the thingy up. I've shown you in it the graph, the transfer graph of the most expensive people to the least. Someone did like a transfer generator in terms of contract, potential, what they've done already, age, and it had like, I think Phil Foden was first. as the most expensive. He'd be probably the most expensive player in the world. You had Greenwood near the top. Haaland was...
I think I've seen this actually. Rashford's quite up on that as well.
Rashford's incredibly high up as well. I'm going to find it right now.
Is it CIES or CEIS?
Transfer...
Valuation.
But
do you think there's something in that? I don't think Real Madrid make a bid this late in the window unless they think they can do something.
I believe it's possible because he wants to leave. I don't think Mbappe was as excited about playing with Messi as he turned out. I think he's got that big superstar factor of wanting the limelight himself. And I think he borderline shared it with Neymar, with him actually being French and being a home kid. He probably was a little bit more loved than Neymar, if anything. But with Messi coming, it's a whole new dynamic. And I'm not sure
he just looked at like a million people in the street one day and was like, anyway, I'm out.
Oh, I'm trying to find it. If I can't find it, we'll just leave it. But it had ridiculous pricing.
So go on and give us your Ronaldo's transfer predictions. Ronaldo to City, yes or no? What about Ronaldo to PSG though?
I think
if Mbappe goes,
Rashford first.
100 to 150 mil. Wow. I think Howland and Felix and Foden.
I think that
Saka. Werner's up there. Stop it.
I think Rashford's also element is obviously his contract, but he's basically the Manchester United. He's the poster boy. So they basically know that if you are going to get Rashford out of United, being he's from Manchester, he loves the club, he's a fan, poster boy.
It'd be interesting to see who could bring Rashford to their club. There's not many.
I don't think there is. And he's going to cost.
And I do know Barcelona was very, 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 very keen on him.
Yeah.
Do you know when you go, Barcelona was throwing some mad numbers around, wages and transfer fee. Well, they did want Rashford, but I think Rashford wanted to stay at United, and that was the end of that, I think.
Barcelona were also very, 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 very interested in Sancho as well. I think they were the biggest competitors, if anything, to United.
Maybe not this summer.
Not this summer. They had the money, but I think
United's the way. So Ronaldo to City, yes or no?
Yes.
What, you think it'll happen this summer?
I think it can happen.
Oh, shit. Mbappe to Real Madrid this summer?
No.
Oh, I think the opposite. I think Ronaldo to City is a scare tactic or just nonsense. But I think if you see Mbappe to Real Madrid, 25 million to partner Messi and Ronaldo, course.
Wait, there's been talks of that, innit? So they ship Mbappe and then PSG then try and get Ronaldo in.
Yeah. That's some business to do in a week, by the way.
That is some market.
You've got a week to pull that off.
If they pull it off, what's their marketing team doing? Orgasm.
Goes on holiday for 6 months because they don't need to do fuck all anymore. They've just done it, haven't they? What do you want me to do? Sell shirts. There's number 10. Is Mbappe number 7?
Yes.
Right. Ronaldo 7.
Really?
Messi 10. You can't make enough fucking shirts to sell. Game over.
I literally think. No, I was going to say borderline. I'd be tempted to get a shirt. Because PSG usually have nice kits as well.
We're going. Vibe with Five are going. We was going anyway. As soon as the Champions League draws in, we're going to pick one of the fixtures in the group stage and go and film a game there. Oh my fucking God! If Ronaldo's there, I don't know. Maybe play cards right. Anyway, that's XG files for this week. That's an absolute crazy prospect that, with Mbappe spitting his dummy out and getting booed by the fans, has just become semi-realistic that it could happen. That is bonkers.
I just think he's wasting your career going Real Madrid now.
Maybe.
These players, Mbappe, Haaland, make your way to the Premier League. That's what I say anyway.
Right, nice one. Cheers for tuning in. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.